everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Trust in Tomorrow. Today's episode is a special episode because we've got someone who's very passionate about travel industry and always been a trendsetter in the travel industry. He's none other than Ankush Nijhawan. Ankush Nijhawan is a managing director of Nijhawan Group and a co-founder of TBO Group. He's also a graduate from Bryant College, USA, a major in marketing and psychology. And today, Ankush, with his strategic vision, is directing Nijhawan Group and Travel Boutique Online to be the leader in the travel industry. Ankush set up and launched Travel Boutique Online in 2007. Today, TBO Group is the largest and leading B2B travel portal in India and emerging as a strong player globally. TBO Group works with almost 60,000 plus travel agents in India, Europe, China, Australasia and Asia Pacific, you name, and they are there. And in the TBO Group tagline is technology inspiring travel, and many travel agents are empowered by TBO to survive in this competitive market. He is a visionary and support young professionals or entrepreneurs who are planning to start a business in a tier 2, tier 3 cities. He is giving a back-end support for anyone from a small town like a Tiruchi in South India to start a travel agency with backup as a system like TBO. Man himself, Ankush Nijhawan. So Ankush, welcome to Trust in Tomorrow. This special episode is focused on young professional, and very happy to have you on the show.
Thank you, Sonder, for inviting me and speaking my heart out and whatever I can suggest and advise to the young India. More than happy to do that.
Okay, great. So, Ankush, you are someone who's always on the move. Like during this COVID also, you're always, spreading positivity within your team or, in wherever you went. So what is that challenges you faced during this COVID? And if you want to just convey that challenges, the solution which you created for that challenge.
So I think, Sonder, the illness is something which is, I think is directly proportional to your mental health.
Yeah.
And I think if somebody is not very mentally happy or is thinking over time about COVID, I think chances are that COVID will contract you faster than somebody, I think, who's positive, and is thinking things in a very positive stride.
Yeah.
I think what I was doing was trying to, help people, talking to my colleagues, my friends, because a lot of them were worried, including me. I won't lie by saying that I wasn't worried.
Yeah.
But I think I was a little bold or bolder than them, to face this pandemic in the last 14 months. I think keeping myself busy, keeping my mind occupied, talking positivity, amongst family, friends, I think was helping me to actually, still keep away from COVID. Not that it's over yet.
Yeah.
I think it was more of mental push, mental kind of motivation to my colleagues.
Yeah.
I was coming to office from May 23rd, 2020. I've never been under lockdown mode at all. Even when the second wave came, when Delhi was locked up, I was still at work.
Yeah.
I think sitting here from 10 to 7 keeps me awake, keeps me not think about the pandemic, rather than work on my plans and strategy going forward, and hopefully they will unfold the way we would like it to unfold. So I think these things really helped. Plus, I think being a leader, my colleagues saw it. So a lot of them showed up in the office, right? My leadership team showed up in the office. And since last 10 days, I think most of us are back at work.
Okay.
But one condition was that once you are back, everybody has to be vaccinated once. So I must say that I really pushed all my colleagues through my own sources, etc. So I'm proud to say that whoever is working in Delhi, right, about 400 in the 2 buildings where I work out of from, are completely vaccinated, and also the other 300 which are in a 3rd building in Delhi are also vaccinated at least once. So I think that's it. And so far so good. Yes, we had about 25 people who had COVID in the company in 14 months, and I lost one of my very senior colleagues in Uttar Pradesh who worked with me since 1988.
Okay.
He's truly missed, but it's unfortunate that we lost him.
So in a professional setup, there'll be always a pre-COVID and a post-COVID situation, and if the young professionals wants to get rehired in the organization, what is that one thing they should keep it in mind?
I think the positivity and the good work what they have done. I must tell you, Sonder, people forget, when they're working in good times, yaar kaam kar raha hu, chal raha hai. They don't realize one thing: everybody's watching you.
Yeah.
Indirectly or indirectly reaches me, reaches their head of department. And when the challenge comes, is then when you start picking and choosing that this guy was the one who gave his best during good times, and this was the guy who was kind of lethargic. So obviously, your choice will obviously be the guy who did his best when the times were good, because he was dedicated, he's committed, he was focused towards delivering what he was supposed to do. I think that every youngster should not forget, sab kuch dikhta hai. Your hard work is seen, trust me. In the short term might not be, but definitely in the medium and long term, everybody's watching you. And when there is a problem like this in COVID, we did not sack anybody. So I'm a little unusual guy telling you this, but I know in companies where people, obviously downsize their team size.
Yeah.
Obviously, the ones they flushed out were the people who did not perform during the pre-COVID time.
So, in the professional setup also, people who are working, they need to adapt, right? Little changes they have to do in their professional working, because things are not the same. Technology has improved during the COVID. Everything has become virtual also. So, what are the little changes people should do when you're working, from home, or most of the people working from home also? So, what are the little change which people should do?
So make yourself uneasy at home.
Mm.
Okay. And why I'm saying this is because you might be sitting at your home desk, right? But treat it like your office. Don't treat it like you're sitting with your kids or family.
Okay.
Be uneasy so that you don't get into the comfort mode, and start kind of getting relaxed in your mind.
Yeah.
And when you see a bed or a TV in front of you, you just want to flip a channel during lunch hours, it can distract you.
Yeah.
So the 10 to 7 should be that, yes, I'm at home. The only time I'll take a half an hour lunch break is that's the only time one should, except the restroom break. But one should treat that 8 hours sitting on that desk as if he's sitting on his office desk. Otherwise, your performance is not going to happen the way it should have happened. And sooner or later, your boss or your leader will realize that you're not coming up to the mark. And that's when the problem starts. Especially the service industry, such as travel. Okay, it's very customer facing. End of the day, right? It's not that you're talking to a computer. You got to be customer facing in terms of replying answers, emails, and phone calls. Yes, if you're a techie in our travel business, then it's different, because then you don't have any work hours. As long as you deliver what you're supposed to deliver, be it the source codes or the whatever it is, it's something it is tangible. Your boss will know that yes, you have done it. But in a sales or a operations/finance job, there is nothing like tangible. You got to show every day on what you're doing. So I think put your mindset at office, at home. I think that's the only way to perform the best.
And you're always someone who's a way ahead of thinking. You found TBO as a technology company when nobody thought that OTA will take over, the B2B market. So how do you think that technology is going to help a way forward in this post-COVID situation?
I think in a matured company like ours, things are different. My answer would be different today what it was 10 years back. 10 years back, I will go back. I think that was the only option I had. Otherwise, we would have perished. I think we were the first company who pioneered the B2B space. And I think it was a great decision in 2006. And today, all of you, if you reckon with it on what we have done in the last 16 years, building this space. Today, as a matured company, for us, technology is always going to drive scale. But I think more importantly, it is the operating leverages. Which is definitely helping us to become more profitable. Because what happens is there comes a time when your size will keep growing, but your cost of human resources is probably going to be the same. That's when your operating leverages start kicking in. I think that's where tech definitely helps us. And third, obviously, keep adding more products, because at the end of the day, the distribution is the same. It's just how much can I pull through that funnel into the distribution? For example, Rail Europe is a new one we just added. Cargo is the other one we added. Marine we added. Technically, was there any extra cost for us? Yes, definitely. For cargo, it's a different business. But from a marine and Rail Europe business, it's the same sales team, it's the same tech. Only difference is we are just pulling that and creating more revenues for ourselves and for our travel partners.
Okay.
Absolutely. So these are three things I would say for tech today, as a matured company, been in the business for a little more than 15 years.
And in travel also, the generation after generation, things are changing, right? In our generation, we used to not have that tech support, but still there was a zeal, to learn more. And there is a young professional of generation who are doing these MBAs and, who are coming with the mindset. But there are things which they're forgetting to do, to put a foundation. So what do you think, or what advice do you give it to these young professionals who are coming in the setup that they should not forget?
I think discipline. I think a lot of youth I see today is not as disciplined as I and you were, when we were in our 20s. Shortcut is something which doesn't happen. Success takes time. It takes time to build a credible business. And I can write a book on this. I'm sure one day I will. I think that is the two things. One has to be very, very, the first two, I would say, parameters, or the first two disciplines one should have, that life doesn't come easy. Three, I think, chase your passion, right? And especially in the travel business, I think you're lucky if you didn't join this business 2 years back. If you're joining now, I think this is the right time, because travel is going to just explode in the next 5 to 10 years. It's not going to stop, and you know that yourself, you by being part of the ecosystem of travel. So don't lose your hope, because at the end of the day, it's a very serious industry. We bring 10% GDP to the Indian economy.
True.
9 trillion is the market size, or USD, of travel in the world. It's not going to stop. Right, and more the disposable income comes, as India economy grows in the next few years. travel is definitely not going to stop, because the young India is definitely going to buy. If you see today, the Lamborghini had 50 cars which they have sold this year, in this year, right?
Yeah.
Why? There was a statement by the MD saying that YOLO, that live only once, right? So this is what it is. So if you're buying a Lamborghini for 3.5, 4 crores, why can't you spend 10 lakhs on your holiday?
Holiday.
To live.
True. Very true. So this comes to my another question, that because you're also a very book buff and you are going to write. I mean, I look forward to that book which you'll write, because you'll have awesome experiences. What is that one book you will recommend the young professionals or entrepreneurs to read if they are kind of trying to establish?
So I see. I'm not a very big reader, so I'm not a book buff. But I definitely like to. I do like to see a lot of these, life kind of stories,
Documentaries.
especially on Netflix. So I mean, I think everybody who's there at that level has to be a champion, right? I mean,
True.
whether it was Sachin Tendulkar, whether it was Mahatma Gandhi, or whether it was Hitler, there has to be that extra metal, I would say, which has to be there to be where you are. So I think all of them are great motivators. So I would not like to put anybody like an example here, but in the travel trade, I really, really respect Mr. Rahul Bhatia.
Oh.
I think for me, I've always idolized him for the last 20 years, and I really wish I can be him when I'm 60. Because I think what he's done in the Indian aviation and hospitality in the last 4 decades is something I think every Indian should be proud. And I've been watching him since I was a very young man. And even if I'm 50% where he is, I'll be more than happy. Absolutely. So he's one of my motivators. Okay, so put it that way.
Okay.
And I meet him once in a quarter to spend an hour with him, just to tell him what I'm doing.
Okay.
Take his advice. And he always guides me to the right way. Yeah.
And you're also a health freak. You are into sports. I see, you're playing a lot of cricket with your team, and you keep on, engaging in some or the other. So how important is to keep yourself fit or healthy, during this, especially COVID is of course, but in the continuous process also, how important do you think health is, or being healthy is?
I think health is wealth. All of us have realized this during COVID, right? More and more. For me, I think being fit and healthy is just because it should look. I think it should look nice. I think gives you that extra confidence facing a screen like you right now. If you don't have that little bump on your tummy, which unfortunately I have in the last 6 months because of less exercise, but I think it just makes a person more confident about him or herself. It keeps you. I love to buy clothes, so if it fits well, you will tend to buy more. And sports is something. Sondra, for me, apart from fitness, I think there are 3, 4 ground rules which I've always followed since I was a child. I've been a great sportsman all my life. Captaining school teams of mine, etc., etc. One, it teaches you discipline. Okay. Number 2, it teaches you how to lose, which sports teaches you that, which is very important. You can't win every time in life. 3, it keeps you away from a lot of drinking and smoking. 4th, it teaches you teamwork, because when you have to play with 11 people on the pitch, end of the day, you're guiding them, you're working along with them. You're trying to balance to see how you can win. And I think that's what you and I do every day in our living lives at work. So playing on the pitch or in the office is the same thing. It's the same team. Right? So I think that's something which is super important. And I think sports has really helped me to bring my personality. And if that success, what you say that I have achieved, I think I would give sports a lot of credit for that.
Talking to me is always watching a T20 match. You're very precise to the point, and you're very direct, which people will listen, and they'll directly get the point. It's not dragged too much on this thing. So on that note, if you want to give kind of one advice, if a person should follow and he'll be a winner, or he can at least go to that next stage which he's stuck at, what would be that one advice?
At this state of life, my advice is different. And I'm sure someday somebody will get there. I think be a very open-minded guy and be a great listener. Because what happens is, when you achieved some 20 years of success, you tend to believe that whatever you're doing is correct. It doesn't happen that. And I tell myself every day, think, listen, right, what the others are saying. Because there might be that 1 or 2 or 3 points which I might have missed, which I can probably make myself a better person at work and at personal life. I think that's something which is extremely important, because if you have that great think tank, right, and friends or some even colleagues in my company, who can give you that kind of balance, I think it's very, very important, especially when you're growing like this, just so that you don't make that major mistake which one can make over time.
Always be a good.
When I was 20-year-old, just drive your passion, man. You got to be super hardworking. You got to break your back. You got to be 14 hours focused. You got to be lucky as well, right? You got to have. Because I always say luck favors the brave. And you got to we have to find the right opportunity. And I always say one thing, Sondra, opportunity comes in everybody's life.
True.
It's very seldom that few pick it at the right time. That's where the differentiation happened between the men and the boys. So I think that's the knack of seeing an opportunity is easy, but knack to pick up and dwell on that opportunity, I think, is the toughest part.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I mean, I knew that things which you will share will kind of inspire, but it was very, very inspiring to talk to you myself. I myself is kind of, motivated. So I'm sure people who will see this video will be equally motivated. Thank you so much for talking to us, and always pleasure talking to you.
And I'm happy, Sundar, for getting me on online today. And if I can make difference to even one individual who sees my video, I'll be more than happy. But always there to support anybody who needs help, be it our industry or elsewhere. Please share my numbers, my email, on my Instagram, whoever you wish to, and more than happy to take it forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sundar. Good talking.